Hey, we're back. Let's see if we've got sound. Uh-oh. I don't see the thing moving. Well, that's not great. Let's see. Command D. I must have sound going, but I sure can't see it. Okay, let's see what's up today. It is Record Store Day, which we will be talking about. And wow, weird. I do not see my sound on. Let's go into settings and see if we can't figure out what's going on. Nope, it's working. Okay. Back to the show. It's, you know, not having a producer makes it a little bit tricky, but I don't know how I'm possibly going to pull off getting a producer. So here we are. So it is Record Store Day. I don't know if you know what that is. I don't know if you celebrate that. It's kind of a big day to us because we love music. We are a music family. Music and movies and books, all that media, we love it. All right. Must be Mercury in retrograde still because I'm having lots of little technical issues going on here. But I think we're good now. So yeah, it's Record Store Day. So if you are somebody that has a record player, this is a day where you find your local record shop and they have exclusive albums. Some of them are box sets, some are singles, some are full albums that are only released for Record Store Day. Uh, some of them get reissued later with different packaging. Sometimes they're just specials. Today is a big one for us, being Wilco fans. We have a number of the Wilco box sets, and today they're putting out The Whole Love as a box set, 3-disc box set, uh, exclusive to Record Store Day. Now, I'm sure, or I would guess, they're going to put it out again, but it'll be different. Usually this is the premium one that you want to get your hands on. Kind of like if you have you do a Kickstarter for a book, kickstarting a book series or something. If you're just putting out the book, it's good, it can work. But if you have a premium version, one that has gold lettering on the side of the pages. Maybe it's a hardcover that's embossed or something different, something that's special and unique. It definitely attracts more. It definitely, uh, it definitely can make it a destination shop, I guess we'll call it, where you absolutely have to get out there and you have to get it. So that's today. It's Record Store Day. Uh, Molly, my daughter, went out to rediscover records. Oh, wait. I could see it lurking in the background. Rediscover Records in Elgin. My friend Rich owns it. And she's out there sitting in a line in the cold because it's about 35 or 40 degrees out there right now. She's going to go in and buy that Wilco box. And then, surprisingly, another one was announced today. There's a single of Wilco doing Space Oddity. So I believe our budget is blown. I think we're getting everything. Yeah. So if you have a record player, get out there, support Record Store Day. It supports the store. And here's the thing. I was reading all about this. In fact, we should talk about this a little bit. Record Store Day has only been around since 2007, and it was started by just a couple of people. Good morning, Chinto. It was started in 2007 by just a couple of people, and what they were doing was they had this idea that they would link record stores and have something exclusive, trying to drive business into those stores. And really, this is something I want you to take. I want you to think about this in your own terms. What can you do that would drive people to you? Okay. So some of you have a physical location, some of you have a website, some of you literally just kind of do your business door to door. I mean, it's a model, right? But what is it that you can do that makes people say, yeah, today's the day, and drives people's interests. So Record Store Day, what they did was they linked up all these record stores, and they said, look, if you carry our stuff, we're going to help drive traffic into your store. You just promote Record Store Day. And they made it really easy and this was the article I was reading, a nerdy marketing article. They make it really easy by using things like Linktree and using social media to share where you can participate and what's out there for Record Store Day. Good morning, Serena. So, for example, I know they use, like, my record store uses SMS marketing. So as Record Store Day approaches, once they announce the date, which is always in April, I'll get a text that says, hey, Record Store Day, April 20th this year. Okay. I literally mark it on my calendar. As we're leading up to it, Record Store Day itself will start sharing things about exclusives that are going to be on Record Store Day. For the stores, they start offering incentives, because I've talked to my friend, and he'll get things, hey, get 4 of these and you get an extra this, which is pure profit to you. So they start adding value in on both ends to the customer, which their goal is to drive people into the store, or to the store itself to get them to buy albums, but not from them. They're not buying them specifically from Record Store Day. They're buying them from the manufacturers as the Record Store Day exclusives. And I guarantee you they're on the other end talking to the producers of the albums, saying, here are the incentives to get you to do this. And really the bottom line is it's got one extremely clear goal, which is driving people into record stores, making that awareness. Now, one of the reasons I love this is, number one, I love music. Number two, local record stores are actually really important. They're important like a local comic book shop or a local book shop. They are, if they're active, right? They are really good for the community. Good morning, Bruce. They're really good for the community. They do a lot of outreach. They drive people to the area. It's not like a big box store. It's not like, hey, we put in a Primark and suddenly everybody's coming from all over the country to go to Primark, right? But they are driving people there because, hey, where are you going to get a shop that's all vinyl? Where are you going to get a shop that is all, and it's nerdy too. It's like it's sharing your interest. It's almost like putting up a Facebook group that you go, hey, I've got something really cool where we can build community and we can get in discussion, but it's all people sharing the same passion. That's what a record store, a well done one, should do. I'm getting text updates. Molly is in line for Record Store Day right now. She just texted me, it's packed. Oh boy. Oh, she's inside. Okay. The next text I get should be whether we got our Wilco vinyl. We had, so they sent out a list early, and they have all these rules, and my friend Rich sticks to them like glue. He will not hold anything for me, no matter what it is. He says, nope, that's not how the rules work. You have to get in line. You have to be there. If there's one left over at the end, you can get it, but you better get in line. So last year we went out there, I think at 5 in the morning. Molly and I left the house, sat there until the store opened at 8 o'clock. But I'll be damned, we got what we were there for, and some. And it's cool because it'll be like, there was a Husker Du band I love, and there was a Pixies album last year that I had seen on their list. Here's what's coming out. Once again, just like I'm talking to you guys about, chumming the water. Make it clear for people so they know what they're in store for, right? I said, here are all the albums that are, oh, thanks. Yeah, here, let me show. That was almost a disaster. I got my big old Marvel cup today. I know it's supposed to be a cappuccino cup. It's not. I'll tell you why I need that so desperately today, too. So anyway, they chum the water. They put out their list. And we went through this year and we picked out exactly what we wanted. Last year we picked out the Pixies and Husker Du and of course Wilco. And there are certain bands that always participate, or generally always. I'm using a big blanket statement. I don't know if they always, but like Wilco is one of those. There's typically Wilco stuff exclusive to Record Store Day. Taylor Swift is another one who has exclusives for Record Store Day often because she's trying to drive people into the stores, and it creates interest in the whole thing, supporting the record stores. Free Comic Book Day does the same thing. You know, you can get your free Marvel books because Marvel and DC are like, oh, let's build awareness. But then you got people like Tango Comics or Unshaven Comics, the smaller producers that are like, hey, we want to build awareness of our books, but we also want to support our local comic book store because they carry our stuff. And if we put the stuff there and we promote it, it drives people into the comic store, makes awareness. And let's face it, if they go in and they buy that, chances are really good they're going to buy other stuff. So, wait a minute, I gotta answer a few of these things here. Um, Chinto, 420 may be a good day for record stores, especially if they have a dispensary nearby. That is an awesome idea. In fact, it's always like this year. It is 420. I think Chinto, I think you're a genius. I think they missed the boat. They should have done some marketing around this. Snoop Dogg should have released a Record Store Day exclusive album today. I don't care if he did any other time. Today was the day. The record label that owns Cheech and Chong's records should have put out a Record Store Day Cheech and Chong exclusive. That would have been amazing. That would drive you there. And Record Store Day, same thing is happening. You're going through the store. They strategically put it at the back, so you go through this huge line, and you go through the store. No matter how big the store is, you have to wait outside. You work your way around, and you come up, and they have their rack of Record Store Day albums. And what happens? You end up walking through their racks of other albums. And I know last year we had to resist. We had to resist because I'll write it down. Here, it's Wilco. There we go. I just shared how you spell it, Bruce. Close that. What happens is it's just like when you go to Target. You know, you go to Target or Target actually doesn't. They have their line where you go in and it's got the impulse items on the sides. But go to places like we have an Amazon Fresh. You have to actually go in. Oh no, you know who does an incredible job with it is Kohl's. Kohl's has a thing you have to enter, and you walk by all these products and walk all the way around and then wait for your register. So you're in like a tunnel full of products and impulse items. When you have Record Store Day, same thing happens. They tell them, put it towards the back, put it in the back corner. So people have to go by all the racks. And what does a smart owner do? They put some of the hotter stuff in those racks that make people go like, oh man, I don't have this. I got to get it. This year's a big Record Store Day because Beatles collectors are obviously a big fan base. And they put out a Beatles box set that is exclusive. It's just 45s, and it comes with a Beatles branded 45 record player. It's so cool. I don't want it. So anyone listening, Molly, I don't want it. But it's super cool. Kohl's does that for Amazon returns too, and then give you in-store coupon after they do their Amazon return. See, this is the stuff that marketing is made out of, and that's why it's so good when they do this stuff. It drives you past the products. Okay, so there's the impulse things. You go to the store and like, oh, they have candy bars right here. I got to buy a candy bar and magazine, right? But Kohl's, it's actual products, and they usually put products that are interesting enough. So there is the little food impulsy things, but then there's interesting things or things like, like you'll see a headphone splitter that you go, oh, yeah, I could totally use that. It's like something I haven't seen before, and it's only up in that line. And then they give you the in-store coupon because what does that do? It drives you back to spend stuff. Now, granted, you don't want to have that be the only thing you offer unless you say that up front because people are like, wow, no returns. I'm not going to shop here. But I know for me, often even though I usually stay away from the ones that say in-store only, if it's a shop you regularly go to, it's super valuable. So I end up using the in-store one typically when I do our return. So as I babble here, guys, think of questions. And so I should explain why I'm a little off today. So last night, and this is actually all tied to it too. This is interesting as well. Last night, Otherworld Theater did their Juggernaut Film Festival. So just as I have a love of Record Store Day, I have a love of film festivals. And Juggernaut is one of our favorites because it's all genre. They show sci-fi, fantasy, horror. I mean, that's what's showing on my TV most of the time. And just like I was talking about how Record Store Day, what book day? Is this Independent Book Day? What day is this, Chinto? Explain. How do I not know this? Because that means I've got to get my butt in gear so that by Monday I'm marketing the heck out of this. So our friends have this theater, and they started this. It's just book day. Okay. Well, there's an example of not great marketing. If I'm a VP of marketing for a book company and I didn't get anything that said participate in book day, I think Record Store Day gets the idea. Maybe I can help stimulate that. I don't know if I can this year. It might be a little too fast, but we shall see. Boy, you've got lots of thoughts going on. So anyway, we went to Juggernaut last night, and we sat through 2 blocks, I can't remember. And then our friends came out. We were ready to go home, tired, Old Man River, and I got a show to do in the morning. And our friends, yeah, really. Hopefully my boss isn't listening. So our friends were there, and our friend had recently had a tragedy. So seeing him, it was the first time we'd seen him since he had said anything. So we ended up staying until after midnight. And the whole time I'm thinking, okay, it's 40 minutes home, and I got to get up in the morning, and I have to try to have a voice, and blah, blah, blah. Well, regardless, we're there for friends. But they started this Juggernaut Film Festival, which is really smart. It's outside of what they do essentially because it's a theater that shows plays, right? But then they said, hey, as a fundraising thing, starting a film festival is a good idea. And there is a linear connection, acting, stories, movies. Okay, we could try this. They've been doing this for years, and it's really a good festival. The reason I bring that part of it up is think about what you do. Think about your business. Is there anything that you can do that feels like community outreach? Because that's what Juggernaut really kind of does, is it's got this, it's like drawing in another community. I happen to be a big short film fan. Maeve and I both love them. So it draws us to that theater. In fact, the first time I met them, Molly and Maeve had already met them, because of the theater acting thing. Molly was actually auditioned for a play with them and then got it. And they went and saw a couple of things they did before I ever did. And then they had Juggernaut Film Festival, and Chris, my friend Chris, and I went down for that because it was like, oh man, a film festival. And we paid for 1 block, and we ended up paying for 3 blocks by the time we were done because we kept sitting there going, oh my God, I don't want to leave. It was amazing. So anyway, think outside of the box. What is it you can do? Is there anything that you can start that maybe it doesn't have to be something explosive, you know? So Serena, you did the mermaid challenge on TikTok. Maybe you start something like that and you get some of your artist friends involved in one little thing, but it's an event. We started podcast festivals, and they grew into some really cool things. And actually the result of those were a lot of things that I do now. It's World Book Day. Thank you, Chinto. So creating events that wholeheartedly give to a community of some sort is a great thing. And keep in mind, does it match? Like, I'm not going to start. Good morning, Chelsea. Uh, you're not late. Um, what is late, right? Uh, where is it linear? So, like, if you start this art thing on TikTok and you start like a day that is you, and you get your friends involved and you get a hashtag and try to get some outreach and see what happens, right? You may catch fire, or it may be just a cool thing that you do every year. We're like, hey, it's 420. This is our day. Everybody draws superheroes with weed, right? I don't know. Don't do that. That's a dumb one, but who knows? But every 420, you do this thing, right? It doesn't have to be anything that costs you any money. It's just kind of a fun little thing that you get your friends involved with, and it can grow. Our podcast marathons grew and ended up taking us to other venues and doing other things, right? Wake and Bake 420. And it's Record Store Day. Have I mentioned that? And no, not for TikTok, but you may have given me an idea. Yes, Serena. Yes, that's the idea. So Record Store Day is exactly that. Juggernaut Film Festival is exactly that. They're trying something that's in it's in the same ball field as what their primary business is, but it's reaching people differently and it's making them feel seen and involved. There are people, I am sure, that think of Otherworld Theater as the Juggernaut Film Festival. Oh yeah, they have plays during the year, but this is where we see the film festival. That's what you want. You want to have that kind of feel. There are people that absolutely have no idea that we had this huge podcast network. They know me as the guy that speaks at panels at conventions, and they see me every time, and they're like, "Oh, you bring this like live thing with you." There are people that only know us from our marathons and that. So what is it you can do with your business? And it doesn't have to be something that elaborate, but something that you'd be passionate about that'd be fun. The women that started Record Store Day, that was exactly it. I'm going to sell Uper pastries next to the pot and bookshops. Uh, Bruce, if you could pull that off, you would probably make a fortune. Because pasties, man. Okay, so anyway, plus Michigan has really, really good prices on marijuana. So if you're somebody that uses the legal stuff, their prices are incredible. We use the gummies once in a while to relax. It's not like, hey, let's have fun. Uh, we have pretty stressful lives, so I make no bones about it. It's like taking an aspirin or whatever. We take a gummy and it can relax you. And I do not buy them around here. I only buy them in Michigan because the only time I bought it here, I bought a little tin of gummies and it was $40. And the exact same tin when I was in Michigan was 12. So yeah, there's my call me Snoop Rob story. So anyway, we went to Juggernaut last night. We ended up staying super late. I'm tired. I'm saying pasties, aren't I? Did I say pasties? I was thinking about you, Bruce, when I said pasty. I digress. So yeah, see, I'm getting jumbled because I am tired. So Juggernaut. I want to talk about the marketing with this too. So we go to a couple of their things. They have a website. They did press releases. While I'm there, in the beginning, when we went to it at this one theater, the theater did a good job of promoting it uh, in theater because they have a movie audience that was interested. So they had a pretty good crowd. When they moved it to another venue, which was not a movie theater, the crowd slipped. Which is fine. They knew it's their own venue now, so they're like, okay, well, we're known for theater, not movies. That's going to slip, but that's okay. still doing what it's supposed to do. And right away, I said, actually, I think it was Maeve and I were at it, and we started talking about what we could do. So when we say that, it's not only that were these our friends, but we weren't close to them yet. It was more we saw how good this thing was. We wanted people to know. Same thing happened with Record Store Day. People saw how cool this was and started sharing it to let people know. They made it a shareable thing. Juggernaut, the way what we said is we need to make this a shareable thing. We need to do something to help them that's not like, hey, advertise with us, because then you're just costing them money. And frankly, that's not the purpose of it. And that's not the part of it that we were getting our mojo out of. So what we did is we created another side hustle. We call it's called Short Heads, and we review short films. Almost nobody does that. So we wanted to make a podcast. We have not made a podcast out of it. I don't think we ever are. Uh, the way it worked was we figured out we'll make a blog. And then last year we went to a festival and I went, oh, I'm going to make a Twitter account and tweet about it. By the way, I was trying to use Twitter yesterday. It is so freaking broken. Go ahead and tweet, but be careful because it is broken, broken, broken. Uh, I'm not going to use it for this. I'm going to go back to using other platforms for short heads. But anyway, what we did was we created it, and then we would always put links back to Juggernaut. And whenever we do a festival now and we see a few films, I always put links back to that festival. These films show at all these different, yes, Bruce, X. I called it Twitter because I'm old, you know. But yes, X, you hip youngster. Uh, it's so broken. Oh my God. So anyway, we thought outside of the box. How can we help somebody? They made it so we wanted to help them, and we could spot the need. Now, I know you're thinking, "Oh, wait, how can I do that? How can I get people to, motivated to help me that way?" Well, it's tricky. You have to do a thing called building raving fans, and there's actually a really good book that if I walk away to find it, I might fall asleep, so I'll be gone for a half hour. We don't want that. But it's by, I think it's Ken Blanchard. It's called Raving Fans. And the concept is basically just that. Do the things to make people not just get a little space in their head where you're going to, like when they think of blank, they think of horror books, they think of you. You want to make them a raving fan where when your next book comes out, they can't do anything but get it. I mention Wilco a lot. I am a raving fan. I have their albums in various formats because they put out like they have a record store day special of Whole Love today. I already have Whole Love. Have to have the special edition. It's super cool. And they always add value to it that makes me say, I don't want to miss out on that. Right? They've made a raving fan out of me. How can you do that with yours? And so Juggernaut, we saw we wanted to act as raising fans or raving fans, tired. And we said, okay, what can we do? We created this blog. From the blog, I created some social media accounts that I just tweet out these mini reviews. They are not critiques. We are trying to encourage the filmmakers, but it makes people aware. And then COVID hit, and we couldn't go to them. So South by Southwest did it for free on Amazon. You could watch a bunch of shorts. So we reviewed a bunch of shorts from there and tagged everything for South by Southwest. That was interesting. We actually got a thing after that saying, do you want a virtual pass for the next season to review films? And of course, it was COVID. And of course, we said yes, because that's awesome. Then it became a bunch of festivals wanted us to do it. And it's like, I only have so many hours in the day and we make no money on it, but we are giving back. We made a thing out of it. Now, have I thought about doing Indie Film Day and making that a thing with our stuff? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because giving back building into passion, all it does is it helps draw people to you and to what you do. Okay, let's see. Everybody's writing. At Fountaindale, we have a short film club every month, talk about short films. Watch someone just recently had a competition. It was really great. Short film community isn't big, but they're passionate. And guess what? The more you do that, it will get bigger. And in fact, Ginto, you need to let me know, because if we come, we could review them. And once again, our reviews are not critiques. We put the description, we put where people can see them. We try to get people into a little conversation about it. And when people become aware, it starts to fill the room. Like I said, Juggernaut, when we went the first time, it was at Music Box Theater. It was packed. It was awesome. So there are a lot of people that love that stuff. They just have to be made aware. And that's why we started that blog. And it's been very helpful. And last night she was like, can you review more movies than what you saw here? Like, yeah, just send us links. We'll do it. Who would I have to sell my soul to? I want raving fans. You know what? You don't have to sell your soul, Chinto. You just got to keep doing what we're starting to do. Keep being you, be honest, be you, and always be thinking, what is my goal and what's the value I'm adding? That's how you'll create that raving fan. And also that other thing that I mentioned, I've said this before, the always have the last word. That's another way to do it. People start feeling like they have a connection to you. They start feeling like they have your ear. And when they feel that way, raving fan. I talk about how I know Paul Tremblay. I don't know Paul Tremblay. He's a writer. I love his books. I started writing and responding to him on Instagram, and he'd always respond. And then one day I direct messaged him uh, because I didn't want to post it on the thread. I was reading his book, A Cabin at the End of the World. I think that's the name of it, Cabin at the End of the World. And there's a part in this book that is gut-wrenchingly horrible. And I sent him a DM and I said, hey, Paul, I'm from your Instagram thread. We've talked about punk rock. And I just want to say F you. I'm at page 173, I think it is, something like that, in Cabin in the Woods. How horrible of you. How dare you? You have ruined my day. And he wrote back, he's like, haha, it ruined my day when I wrote it. And since then, we have had a little bit of a relationship, writing back and forth. I wouldn't say we're friends, but we have this little bit of connection. And what did it do by him doing that? It made a raving fan. Go look at my bookshelf. I have all except I think 2 of his things, and that's just because I want to get them in a certain series, and they haven't released them yet in the one series because I like the format. Um, you know, since I have all of them in the one format, I want to make sure I get all of them in the similar format if I can. Although, truth be told, I'm getting his new book in hardcover. Breaks my format, but come on, it's called Horror Movie. It looks awesome. So no selling your soul. Just be you. Gotta run. Have a great weekend. Bruce, thanks for coming, buddy. And you know what? Next week, I'm going to try to remember. I had something specific. Oh, he left. I was thinking about Bruce and his car detailing business, and I had something really specific for him, and tiredness has taken that away. I really do think about what you guys ask and what we talk about in here. So, yeah, when you have questions, know that me rambling is not the end of it. And you can always write to me and we can talk. Or we can set up a full thing. I mean, we do that too. I do consulting and that. This is my new one. I did a website for one of our artists or one of our authors. The one she had was okay. It wasn't great. And she was very upset with it. And she kept complaining to me, and she's like, I need to hire somebody. And I recommended a couple of people, and they were charging freaking arm and a leg. And it was just a landing page with some link stuff so you could order her books. So I told her I could do it. I just built it in WordPress. That way you can have some nice SEO to things, and I can manipulate it. And you know what? I realized, hey, this is something that's easy for me to do. So if you need a website, reach out. I'm not going to subcontract them unless it's a really big project. This was like 5 different pages. I made it really pretty. I made it clickable, can link to her newsletter. I put a newsletter archive on it, which she didn't have. And now all that data in there is now searchable by Google. So her traffic is going up, which is awesome. So that's what the thing at the bottom is about. Okay, I've rambled. What questions do you guys have? And have I made sense? Please God, I hope I made sense. Oh, I closed my comments section. So a couple of things while I'm waiting for hopefully questions to roll in. We can't really do a catalyst if we don't have questions. First of all, Serena, we've been busy. We have got to figure out how we're getting together. And I know C22 is next weekend, so we're going to have to go after that. But you are on the top of my mind. So we will get together. And then, Chelsea, I'm going to see you next weekend at Indie PopCon, which Indie PopCon, if you're in the Indianapolis area, come see us. We've got Writers Row there. It's coming together. It's really interesting. We kind of, last year was our beta. This year has turned into another beta because we've changed it. We've already broken some of the mold, but it's going to be really cool. And by the time we do Louisville, it's going to, I mean, people were wowed by last year. We know that it wasn't even close to its potential. By the time we do Louisville, we're going to be getting damn close to its potential, if not hitting our stride. So that'll be fun. Triggered an idea, which gives me stuff to chew on until then. You can also write me, Serena. I mean, you know I'm around. And also to answer this, no, I will not be at C2E2. I am at Indie PopCon the whole weekend in Writers Row. In fact, Maeve and Molly and Chelsea and some of our other authors and Erica, who's the CEO, they're all going to be in the booth doing their thing and then out for signings. And then we also have our own panel room, which they will be doing panels occasionally. But that's really where I'm going to live. Is I'm going to be doing panels and hopefully doing social media pictures and everything. We last year did not have any social media. We now have social media accounts, which if the stars align, I'll start posting on Monday. I don't know. It's tough to do it all, that part of it all yourself, like setting up the event and doing that part, but hopefully. So that'll be what's going on there. Yeah, maybe next year if they don't have Indie PopCon and C22 on the same weekend, we can get you out to Indie PopCon, Serena. And then, I want to do that newsletter archive. Talk to me, Chelsea. I can tell you how to do it. I can tell you exactly what you need. And in fact, here's what I love about the newsletter archive. And I'm shocked that people don't have it. So you take your newsletter and you want to take the ads and stuff out. Just make an archive, right? And you put like March 8th, 2024. And it's got the newsletter. And then April 3rd, 2024 is the next thing. Okay. Actually flip those. You do the oldest at the bottom and the newest at the top. But then you can go in to something like there's a website called SEM Rush. And you can go in there and you can set up a free account and you can go into like Keyword Magic, I think it's called, or the SEM Rush Magic. And you can type in keywords to find out what words need to be in what you're doing. And even if you don't take the training and figure out how it all works, it will give you ideas. You can go in there and let's say your newsletter is about werewolves in London. You can go in there and type in the magic tool, werewolves in London, and see what you get. It'll give you a list of different keywords and it'll show you popularity, usage. If it's something that like, if it says like 2 people have clicked on it in the last month, that's not a hot keyword, but maybe it'll be like really ultra hot. Well, that's a good one to have, but you're going to get lost in a sea. So you'll kind of learn that pretty quickly when you start playing with this tool. But you can take your newsletter, and even if you didn't use it when you wrote your newsletter, when you do your archive, you can go in and find what are some keywords that you can put as titles in there. If you're building a website, you'd make like an H1 or an H2 title and throw a couple keywords in, and it makes it so much more reachable by Google. So when it sends its bots out and it's trying to put, where you rank in search engines, you want to be towards the top. So if somebody types in werewolves in London, you come up. There we go. No, I've just been busy writing, so I haven't had a chance to do much on social media. I've been putting memes up, but my interaction with my posts has flatlined. Oh, no. Even with a call to action, there's not much of a bump. And somehow I'm cool with it since my writing has taken center stage. And you know what? That is completely legit. That is completely legit. You don't have to always be everywhere. If you're in a creative bump, I mean, look at me with this catalog. Now, I wouldn't call that a creative bump, but I've been working on this catalog. I just finished it. In fact, when we're done today, I have to add one tiny thing that I just found out this morning, and then I send it off, and it's going to go live on our website. Hopefully by Monday, project is done. But it's distracted me, so my social media game off, my interaction off. What I'm going to do is go back, and anybody that's written on social media in the past 30 days that I didn't get in contact with, I'm going to write to them. I'm going to be like, hey, great answer, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to like try to have a little more interaction so they know there's a person there. It's not just going into a void. So, Chinto, give yourself a break. It's all good. Although I guess you are because uh, oh, I just got the message. Wilco has been picked up. My album is coming home. Uh, so uh, so yeah, if you're in that time of life, we all have seasons of life, whether it's in business or in personal, where you lose attention. Maybe you don't see your friends the same way for a bit, then all of a sudden, boom, they're back in your life in a huge way. Same thing with this. Your business. You are pushing on social media and you're very active, and then it's like, wait, but I have to put my focus on writing. That's okay. Just don't neglect it and have it die. Come back to it when you can, and you'll be right back up to steam. Uh, you won't flatline for long. Trust me. I've gone back to properties. Oh, Shortheads that I was talking about was an interesting one. That's a project that we never really put out there. I wrote the reviews. I was doing stuff on the fly. We were getting a few followers. We put the blog up. The blog gets a little bit of traffic, but it's not anything that we ever put a lot of effort into. We were more making it so that Juggernaut could use it, and the filmmakers could use it to put on things as seen on. They could share the review themselves, but we weren't doing a lot on our business end to bolster it up. And I don't know, a year ago, over the summer, Molly was in a short film, and the director was being featured down at Cisco Film Center. So we went down, and they were having a little festival, and I picked up Shortheads, which we hadn't touched in a while, and just did a couple of tweets and did a little review, and the traffic went right back. It had died, but it wasn't flatlined totally. As soon as I did that, a little bit of interaction. We've let it kind of float out there. I just occasionally post something just enough to let people know it's not dead. And you know what? When I do this Juggernaut thing over the next week, I'm going to post a bunch of things. It's going to be right back to where it was. And as long as I'm actively engaging with people, no harm, no foul. And we got to do all these other things in the meantime that are building brand me and brand us and brand Southgate Media Group and everything else. Oh, wait, there's another one from Chinto. I'm also trying to illustrate my first children's book that I did not write. So hopefully that gets me a new audience. Yeah, absolutely. And you want to treat that as if it's your own not say that it's your own, but when you're promoting it, passionately promote it, just like we do for Juggernaut. Passionately promote it. And you will pick up fans and followers, and you never know what that's going to lead you to. So, questions? Anybody? Nothing. Okay. I wish I could show you the pictures. Molly's taking pictures in the record store. She's all proud of herself. I could show you this one. I'll just hold my phone up. I was talking about side projects. Can you see that? Bob and Doug McKenzie. So that's one of my tricks is when I identify a fandom and a group of people that I like, that I want to support, that I'm into, I create something around it. and that instantly puts me in that world. And I can then be in communication with people about it. So I told you about shortheads. I have another one. Now, this one is not promoting anything other than we just thought it was fun. But uh, my friend Jack and I were doing a podcast, and we started talking about Bob and Doug McKenzie's Strange Brew and how, for us as teenage boys, we saw this movie and we were like, this is hilarious. We loved it. It was never as big a hit as like Ghostbusters or anything, but man, it was a great movie. We loved it. So like ridiculous. And then I saw an interview with Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas, and they were talking about how they wanted to do a sequel. They had pitched one. It's called Bob and Doug McKenzie Meet the Werewolf. We're like, oh man, talking about werewolves again today. It's in the air. And it never happened. Okay. So we were talking about this, and I said, Jack, we should start a Facebook group. And he went on and he started a Facebook page, which is different. And it kind of went on and died, flatlined. So I said, oh, no, I'm going to make a group. So I made a group off of his page, put a logo on it, did whatever. And occasionally we post to it. It's always either pictures of Bob and Doug McKenzie, video clips. It'll be werewolf information. Because they're Canadian, it'll be a lot of Canadian things, Tim Hortons stuff. I did a thing where, and here's a great example of being able to use these side things. We have an Amazon affiliate link, so I went on and I found they had really nice toques, which is Canadian knit hat. But these were like, they had the Canadian flag on it, but they were really good quality. The reviews were great, and I was like, this is so Canadian. So I took the link and I put it on on this Facebook group. You can order a Canadian toque, just like Bob and Doug McKenzie. Uh, it is a way that the people that are there now, I have permission to market to them. If there's a DVD release of the movie, I can put it on there. But then the rest of the time, I just share occasionally fun things. One of my favorite things is there's a Twitter account, which is CBC. Is that it? CBC. Tired. Uh, it is their police scanner in British Columbia. And the things that go on that are just ridiculous. So when I get a good funny one, I screenshot it and I just post that. And it's hilarious. My favorite one was two guys got caught at an intersection. The police were called because they were having a fight, and they started sword fighting with the necks of their guitars. So Canadian. So Canadian. So that's another example that we kind of went, what's outside of the box? What can we create that plays into a fandom? And I now have permission to sell to them. And actually, because of this, because I've got this like occasional weird relationship with this group, if I ever have anything like we're putting out, when we put out the official, actually not self-published version of Pod Life. So if you want this unofficial version that we did the entire thing, which will only ever be in this form, reach out to me because I have like 20 copies and then they're gone. The new one has new. Some of the stories are taken out, some new ones are put in. It's going to be really cool. Anyway, when that new one comes out, I now have permission to put on there like, hey, I know it's not Canadian, but we have a new book out. We're celebrating. And I guarantee you, there'll at least be some love back. I should be able to get some people to at least share it. That's what it's about. People sharing, people hopefully buying. But they feel like, hey, they know me and they want to support me now. So, and yes, Serena, I think it's funny too. The funniest thing was about, I don't know, 2 years ago, we were up at Middle Bass Island in outside of Cleveland, and our friends have a house out there, our cousins, and we always take a drive around this island. It's this little island, but beautiful homes, and it's really cool. And my phone, we get kind of out towards the one tip, and my phone all of a sudden switches over, and we're in Canada. And he goes, "Yeah, we're in Canada now." I'm like, "What?" So I snapped a screenshot, "Welcome to Canada," or whatever, and I posted it on there. And Molly's like, "What are you doing? Uh, Are you posting on your thread about it?" And I said, "No, I'm posting on Bob and Doug McKenzie Meet the Werewolf." She's like, "What is that?" No idea. She has no idea a lot of these little things that I've created. She's like, "Wait, you do that?" Now she's a fan of it. She watches it and she's like, "Oh my gosh, this thing is really funny. I wish you did more." It's like, "Yeah, but I'm not I'm not. I've got 8 million things to do, but occasionally I get an idea or I see something funny and I throw it on there." But it's so funny to see Molly all of a sudden realize you're in all these things. Yeah, you have an interest in it and there's a fan base there that needs to be served. If you can add value to it, start something. It doesn't have to be a 150 show network. It could be one little dumb thing that talks about Tim Hortons and Bob and Doug McKenzie 3 times a year and has this great police scanner out of Canada. Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny to me. That reminds me, I was cleaning out the garage and I was selling off all my toys because I used to collect toys. And I'm like, I like to have a few around, but I don't need all of them. I just remembered I did find my Todd McFarlane, Bob and Doug McKenzie action figures still in the box, and I did not sell those. I'm going to have to bring those out, put them up on my shelf up here. It's so funny. So we're going to run out of time. You guys didn't ask any questions. I just babbled. Before we go, any questions? Anything? Is anybody going to come out to PopCon? I know Chelsea is. We're also doing Louisville PopCon, which is going to be in August or September. Can't remember. So we'll be at that too. I'm here for the babble. That's the value I add. You know you're going to get tired Rob babbling, drinking his big ass cup of coffee. Big ass cup of coffee brought to you by New Media Lab. Actually, it is funny. I don't know if you guys saw this on the one episode, but we will be selling coffee. I found a place that they will sell me these little 4-ounce bags. It is one like 10-cup pot of coffee, and it's good. It's a local roaster, and they said, "Yeah, we'll sell you these little bags. I can brand it however I want." They always put this on the back where it tells you what this was a sample they gave me. It tells you what the coffee is and where you can buy your own thing. But then on the front, this was a sample from a Faith and Fellowship. It must be from a church group or something that had extra bags left over. They do weddings and bar mitzvahs and parties and business events or whatever with these. And she said, "Yeah." She said, "You can use our bags. You can supply your own bags. We just like to put that one sticker on the back." And she said, "You can do whatever you want with the front." And so I am going to make pour over marketing coffee that will be available. I'm going to do it for a bunch of the books and things because I think it's really cool. And the coffee's good. So, and why wouldn't I? Let's talk about, branding. I always mention coffee on here. Hell, it's called pour over marketing. So having bags of this and not even on here, like I'm not expecting you guys to be like, "Oh, I want to buy the 1 pound of it," or "I want to buy this from, this show that I'm watching." But if I'm at Indie PopCon and I've got my booth and I've got Pod Life sitting there and then I have, 10 bags of this and I say, $3 to get a bag of whatever coffee, I guarantee you I will sell that coffee. It'll happen. Oh, we've got somebody who I know who hasn't been on before. Chantal is here. Hi, Chantal. Welcome to the party. You just missed coffee talk. Other questions? Hey, did you guys think about Catalyst? Did you like that idea that I proposed 2 weeks ago? I think it was, or maybe it was last week. What are your thoughts on that? I would love to hear. That was something that so Liz said she wanted to be on it. I had a meeting with somebody this week about marketing for something. And oh man, he had great insights. In fact, that was what I was going to talk about today, were some of the insights he gave. And then I went, nope, I'm just going to have him on. He won't be on next week because it's Indie PopCon, but hopefully the following week, maybe I'll have him on. He'll be on a Saturday one, not a Thursday night one. And it's interesting because he worked for a big marketing company doing social media and publicity. So he had lots of things. It's a lot of stuff that I say, but I've talked about this before. I don't think anybody's an expert. I think that they find things that work and they're able to talk about them and share them and do them, but everything is testing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think the best marketers are the ones that understand that. They're going to take the lumps with the successes. And that was something he and I were talking about. And he was like, yeah, he says, I hate it when the clients are like, it should be A to Z, and that this is how you do it. And he's like, no, it's A to 14 to pie chart to B to Boba Fett to whatever. And then eventually it becomes more of a line and branches off, whatever. But he had some really fun insights, things that I've talked about that I feel like I'm the only one saying. And all of a sudden here he was saying the exact same thing, which is super cool. Validation. Should make a musical about validation. So I'm going to bring him on. But we had this really interesting conversation, and I told him about catalog. Tired. Told him about Catalyst, and he's like, "Oh my god, I so want to be on that." And what's interesting is it wasn't when we do this. It is not me bringing in a bunch of experts. It's you guys and the people like Liz and this other guy. Two other people. I just realized another one reached out to me yesterday, and I forgot to write them back. As soon as we're done, I'm writing them back. They want to be on. They don't want to be on as an expert. They want to be on because they have a question. They want to be part of the collective. They like the hive mind idea. And they believe that you guys are going to have amazing answers. And trust me, they are going to have amazing answers back for your questions. So keep thinking about a question. And if you want to fine tune it, write to me. And I will make it, I'll put it on whatever episode we're doing, and I'll say, this is a Catalyst episode. But I got to have a couple of questions up front in order to pull that off. And Chantal just asked what that is. Really quick, in a nutshell, you come with a question, make it a good one, and we present it to the group, and everybody gets a chance to chime in about it. And you, as the person asking the question, don't get to respond, because that's when we get into, oh, I tried that, or no, that doesn't really work, blah, blah, blah. No, safe space. They can give their idea. What happens when you do this is you will get some chaff, but you're also going to get gold. I think genius is right next to you all the time. And I don't care who it is. Whether you're professional, I've got a PhD in whatever, and I know all this. That's right. You might be a thought leader, or the person who you knew in high school that's suddenly sitting next to you on a bus, and you're like, man, they barely made it through high school, and they're still like, they sit at home and play video games, and they do nothing else, and they're in their 60s and still at mom's house, like weird. Yet, when you pose a question like this, they may have the keys to the universe, because everybody has genius in their own right, and everybody has interesting ideas. So that's what Catalyst does, is we try to draw those interesting ideas out, try to share them, and then you walk away with all these really cool things. And that's why, like, these three people that I just mentioned all want to be part of it and ask questions about their businesses. Some of them very successful businesses, but they want to be part of it. So think about a question. And when we do a Catalyst episode, we will take each question, and they're timed. So if we have 10 questions and we've got 1 hour, We're going to make them 5 minutes spent on each question. Hard stop. So there we go. That's it. We have hit 9 o'clock, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for putting up with my babble. I will definitely be back Saturday morning before Indie PopCon. Maybe I'll do it from like a coffee shop or something. Maybe I'll get Chelsea to join me. Wouldn't that be fun, Chelsea? You could be a special guest in studio. I don't know how that's going to work. We'll see. So think about your questions. Think about what you can create around what you do that can add value, that can reach out to a community that may be adjacent or a direct hit. It doesn't have to be something that costs money. All right? And if you want to float those ideas by me, send me a message. You guys know I'm around. I'll talk to you. If you want to set up a free session to see if me doing consulting or coaching would work for you, send me a DM. We'll get you on a free session and we can talk about it. I'll be honest, whether it's going to work or not, whether it's something I can help you with or whether it's for you. And also, like I said before, if you do need a landing page, you want to, like, oh God, I hate my landing page. I'm really affordable and I'm really fast. So reach out to me about that too. I would love to help you out. Or if you know somebody that needs it, send them this way. And also tell them about this show. Get people in here. I am doing nothing to market it yet because I've been trying to get my feet under it. But now it's time. I'd love to see like 50 people in this thread when we do this next week. So, guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Record Store Day. Go out and buy some vinyl. Support that local record store. And we'll talk to you again at World Book Day on Tuesday. You'll see me post about it now that I know about it. Have a great week, guys.